Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Daryl here. I hope you guys are having a great day today. So the topic of this week's video is trem systems. We've got 5 guitars lined up behind me. We're going to put these instruments head to head to see which trem system is the best. Let's get started. For this video, we're going to be focusing on mid-range trem systems. So trem systems that are affordable and ubiquitous across all music stores. So we'll have a bunch of different brands represented. We will do an American-made trem system shootout in the future, so watch out for that. But I wanted to start out with the mid-range guitars just because they are affordable for most people and they're guitars that you can find almost anywhere. So let's take a closer look at which guitars are represented. So the brands we have represented for today's shootout include a PRS SE Custom 24. I think I'm pointing at it right now. There we go. A GNL Tribute Legacy. We've got a Music Man John Petrucci. This is the Sterling model, so sort of their mid-range line. The black one right there in the middle. The red one right there is made in Mexico Fender, and then a Squire in the Daphne Blue behind me. So the price range on the instruments we're going to include in today's shootout range from about $350 all the way up to about $800, depending on where you live, your currency, all that stuff. But all of them sort of represent really good mid-range instruments. So if you've been starting to learn guitar and you've saved up some money for your first sort of really good instrument that will last for years, any of these 5 would make excellent choices. But today we're going to be honing in on the trem systems. So let's take a closer look. So today we're going to look at the design of the trem arm, we're going to look at the design of the trem block, we're going to talk about the overall feel of the trem, so how it reacts using different vibrato techniques, and of course the ability of the trem to return to tune, which is the most important. So let's start with the PRS. For comparison 1, we're going to start with the vibrato bar. Now this is really important for a player's comfort, how well they will use it. Certain techniques will be limited by what style of bar is on your guitar. So let's start talking about that right now. Now on this PRS SE Custom 24, it's a great design. You've got a little tightening screw. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that. Maybe I'll take a close-up shot. But anyways, right past your E-saddle adjustment on the back, there's a little grub screw that tightens up your bar. So that means if you are wanting to use certain techniques and you want your bar to be held on the back, or if you want it down, or be able to move it down and up depending on where you're using it, it will stay put, which is really ingenious. Now this GNL Legacy Tribute has a very similar system to the PRS SE in terms of the bar design. It's implemented a little bit different and looks a little bit different, but it's got a raised collar right here and then a tightening screw on the back. So again, the bar will stay exactly where you need it. There's no sloppiness in the bar. That's another advantage to sort of the grub screw system on the back. Same with the PRS, so no play at all in the trems. But yeah, really great design. Up next is the Music Man. This is the Sterling version of John Petrucci's model. Really great guitar, by the way. But anyway, trem system very similar to the first 3. It's got the tightening screw. The collar's really, really small, but the screw's right there. And again, no play in the trem, and the bar will stay right where you need it. Now the first 3 guitars all get about equal grades for their trem arm implementation. They all have tightening screws and pop-in bars. Now we get to the Fenders, and it's a little bit of a different story. So the bars can be a little bit floppy. They'll just kind of like, if you come up, they'll just hop back down. You see it however the guitar moves. The trem arm will move with it. And so to pull the trem arm out, you have to unscrew it a bunch, and to get more tension, you just sort of have to screw it in. And even if you get it close, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but there's lots of play in the arm. You can keep tightening it, but then, it gets a little bit better, but there's still play. So definitely the Fender will get docked a few marks for this trem arm implementation compared to its competitors. Let's look at the Squire. Now the Squire that we have represented in this test is a Squire Deluxe. It represents kind of the top tier of Squire, so that's why it's included in this mid-range test. Yeah, really great guitar overall, but I would love to say that the trem system was upgraded over the Mexican Fender, but it's not. The trem arm design is exactly the same, so screw in, screw out, lots of play, loosens up over time. Not a great design. So at the end of round one, we've got the PRS SE, the Gina Legacy Tribute, and the Sterling Music Man, all top marks. Great designs, they're all pop-in, they have tighteners, really easy to use, and they can be set up for the preference of the user, which is awesome. And then we've got the Made in Mexico Fender Strat and the Squire Strat bringing up the rear. Alright, so for test 2, let's talk about trem block thickness. Now, some people say it doesn't matter at all, other people swear by it, going to a different material for a trem block or for a different thickness. So let's rate the guitars since we have them here. The thinnest trem is on the Squire Deluxe. It's got a really thin base and then it kind of tapers to a little bit thicker, but not a lot of material here. Now the next guitar in terms of the thinnest trem block is the Gina Legacy Tribute. It does have more material than the Squire, but not a ton. Now the next two instruments are a bit of a wash. The overall thickness on the Music Man, which is on my right hand here, it's a little bit thicker, but you'll notice the trem arm block, I don't know if you'll be able to see there in there, it's not part of the main block, whereas on the PRS SE, it's ever so slightly thinner, but the block goes the full width, including where the arm attaches. So probably a little bit more material on the SE overall, but yeah, in the grand scheme of things, very similar. So this leaves us with the Made in Mexico Strat, which is the clear winner. The block itself goes the full length of the cavity and the full width. So yeah, tons of material here. I think the older style Mexican Strats had the tapered block, but I think this newer style thicker block is a direct drop-in, so if you wanted to upgrade it, that would be a cheap way to do that. So for round 2, we've got the Made in Mexico Strat at the top with the thickest block. We've got the Music Man and the PRS SE sort of tied for second. And then we've got the Gina Legacy Tribute and followed by the Squire. For comparison 3, we're going to rate the overall trem experience on each one of the instruments. So I've set them up all the same, so they're all floating. So I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but all the bridges are able to bend up as well as down. Yeah, and the experience on this PRS SE is excellent. So even though it sort of has that sort of vintage Fender look of the 6 individual posts that the trem rides on, it's extremely smooth and it doesn't feel like the Fender system. So you can bomb this one all the way down, so basically touching the body of the guitar till your strings go really loosey-goosey. So it goes all the way down, returns to tune really good. We'll just show that in a second. No play in the trem, the arm goes wherever you want it. You can do flutters, you can do bombs. For a non-locking system, I've had a great experience with this guitar. Now the overall experience on this Legacy Tribute is very good. Even though it's got fewer springs on the back than the PRS has 4, this has 3. Because there's other components, I think there's some like rubber washers and stuff in here. It's really durable, but it does give like a stiffer feel. So it's not as easy just to flutter it and float it. But it does bend up, no problem. You can set it up just the same as all the others, but it doesn't bomb down quite as hard. So this is about as far as the trem will go. So you can't quite do the bombs, which is a slight limiting factor on this guitar. Now the experience on the Sterling by Music Man is superb. It's a really great system. You can bend up very easily. You can bomb all the way down till the strings are floppy, returns to tune, excellent. Yeah, so no play in the trem. The arm pops in and out for easy transport. Yeah, really, really great system. Great feel on this guitar. And we're back to the Fender. It's a good news, bad news situation with the Fender. The bad news is the 6 screw attachment trem mechanism is nowhere near as robust as the PRS. It's just not as good. I'm just gonna say that because it's the truth. The good news is it can be made to function quite well. So with a little bit of work and time, you can get this trem system functioning very good. This one's so good that I have no qualms playing with it live. Functions very good. So anyway, you can still float it, so it can be bent up or down. Bending down is similar to the Legacy, where you can't quite bomb it all the way down. The feel isn't quite as smooth as some of the others, but the return to tune is quite good on this. And finally is the Squire Deluxe. Now this one has a 2-point trem, which is superior to the 6-point on the Fender. The 6-point on the PRS is excellent. All the rest of the guitars have 2-point trems, including the Squire Deluxe. So I say good on Squire for going to a 2-point trem, well done. The action is very, very smooth. So smoother than the 6-point on the Fender. Yep, and again, you can bomb it all the way down. Strings loose. Much further than the Legacy or the 6-point on the Fender Mexican made. And of course it's still floating, so you can bend it up. And overall it rates decently for trem feel. So out of these 5 guitars, based on trem arm design, on block thickness, on overall trem experience, and trem performance, my favorite guitar is the Ernie Ball Music Man Sterling. The thickness on the arm is just perfect, feels great in the hand, no sloppiness in the trem, returns to tune excellent and really easy to use. So if you're looking for an affordable guitar with an excellent trem system, look at Sterling by Music Man. My second recommendation would be the PRS SE. It's got an excellent trem system on it. It can bomb all the way down. It can be pulled up and it returns to tune. My only gripe with that guitar is I find the bar a little bit too thin. I like a little bit thicker, so you're not feeling like you're grabbing nothing. So that would be my only gripe. Other than that, performance is excellent. In third place, we've got the G&L Legacy Tribute. It's got a nice thick bar, so it feels excellent in the hand. No play in the trem system. It ranks third because it can't quite bomb all the way down, and it feels a little bit tighter. But again, performance is good, and return to tune is excellent as well. And in final place, I would kind of lump the 2 Fenders together, or the Squire and the Fender together. The Made in Mexico one can't bomb all the way down. The Squire can, but the Squire has a really thin block. The Mexican has a very nice thick trem block. Feel is similar. I would rate maybe the Squire a little bit higher on feel just because of the 2-point trem. But again, with a little bit of work, you can make that 6-point work well. So I would say it's a little bit of a wash at the end. But in terms of overall performance, the Squire and the Fender would rate at the bottom. All right, so I've arranged the guitars on the wall from first place to last place. I think any of these trem systems can be made to work well, and it's sort of what you get used to. But the first 2 and probably the first 3 really make them stand out from the crowd. So if you're looking for a good mid-range guitar that will perform well, check out one of the first 3 guitars. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope you found this video valuable, and hopefully if you're picking a guitar with a trem system on it, this will help you pick one. So anyway, have a great week, you guys. My information will be on the screen. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and we will see you guys next week with a new video. Take care.